Arc Raiders team gave us a pair of updates relating to upcoming content and crackdowns with recent glitches that were patched. Some information perhaps better than the other, but today I wanted to keep you in the loop as we approach a down week here of sorts for Arc Raiders before heading into a very busy one next week with the Shrouded Sky update. Drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you guys enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all things Arc Raiders and even more FPS content. I'd love to have you in the community, but for now, let's get into it. So let's start out with the more enjoyable of the two updates here today. The Shrouded Sky update is coming, it's just not this week. Initially, it was announced as Attention Raiders this week. There will be no major game update or store rotation, but stay tuned for the Shrouded Sky coming next week. We'll be sharing more news later today, though, so keep an eye out on this channel. Thanks for your patience, and see you topside. Then it was later confirmed that next week with the Shrouded Sky would be next Tuesday, the 24th. This including a little bit of a teaser trailer of a Scrappy-themed weather vane, where we get a few seconds of what showcases that vane spiraling out of control seemingly, teasing a wind condition upcoming, which does coincide with what we've seen for the iconography on the roadmap for Shrouded Sky and what we see as the February major update. The former mention of the Shrouded Sky also detailed a new threat in the storm, so it seems like that major map condition will be following alongside that parameter here. Whether it's a giant windstorm, giant thunderstorm, something that will deal with that and is tethered to the wind in some capacity. Other things to keep in mind when you think about the Shrouded Sky update, we are going to see things like a new arc threat, which could be either a brand new arc enemy or it could be something as simple as the Shredders finally making their way out of Stellamontis and onto other maps. That's been something that's been guaranteed for a while now and said explicitly by developers. There's another player project upcoming, a new Raider deck, a new map update. We don't have any details on what that will include, but it's an update to an existing map, not something like a brand new map, though that will be coming in April. And the expedition window will be opening up the following day on the 25th. Now, while it all makes the most sense, it's not necessarily confirmed all of that will be happening on the same day, but I would imagine it would be, so just keep an eye out for that. All of that coming next week on the 24th, but again, as stated by Embark, nothing really major this week. It's just all that stuff coming on the horizon. It's nice we get to look forward to that, but beyond that, the other update we got from the Embark team actually dealt a little bit with that recent duplication glitch that was all over Speranza a few days ago. It was patched pretty quickly compared to some other issues that we've seen within Arc Raiders, but that didn't mean that for 36 to 48 hours it wasn't plaguing players' experiences, either in flooding the economy with duplications of rare items, like the newer ducks that are 7,000 each and can be stacked to 15 each, allowing players to make millions in a matter of minutes, or to the detriment of other nearby raiders, as players could duplicate utility, grenades, and other items, meaning that you could have totally ruined another player's experience by just throwing a million grenades at them. This was patched, and Embark had said before, we're still investigating the full impact of the issue, and we'll be taking action based on the severity of the different cases as we complete our investigation. Now, there wasn't anything in particular that was incredibly clear about what would have been done, other than the prospect of maybe there's some stuff coming, but today we did see the rollout of that seemingly start to happen. In a blog post over on their website and a Discord community update pointing towards this blog post, we ended up seeing what was called an update on recent exploits and corrective actions. In this post, it said, Raiders, last week we said that we would return with more information once our investigation into recent exploits was complete. That investigation has now concluded. Over the course of this week, we'll begin issuing enforcement actions to accounts that we can confirm took advantage of these exploits. Following up by saying, we understand the desire for fast action, especially when both gameplay and the economy suffers. When we take action on players' accounts, we do it based on what we can define, prove, and stand behind. In practice, that includes validating reports against data, confirming exploit usage, scope, and effect, separating accidental and edge case behavior from repeated and intentional abuse, and assessing the measurable impact on the economy and competitive integrity. We want to act once with intention and with confidence that we're doing the right thing. This is the first time we've handled an incident of this nature at such scale in Arc Raiders. Rather than rushing, we chose to take the time needed to fully understand the situation and make sure our response was consistent with our values and expectations. Then laying out what are the consequences, saying they'll be taking action based on severity, intent, frequency, and impact. Outcomes will vary based on actions, but will include warnings for low severity cases where abuse was limited, removal of coins tied to exploit activity, and suspensions for severe cases, particularly where exploit usage had a significant impact on the game's in-game economy or other players' experiences. Their goal is to keep the game fair for everyone, and that means means holding all players to the same standard. Then finally saying, moving forward, it's their hope that this response provides a platform for future action and that they've already improved their detection and tracking, internal review tools, and safeguards to limit the impact of similar exploits. They say they take this incident seriously and they're approaching it as both a corrective effort and a learning opportunity to strengthen the systems that support fair play. So essentially boiling down to being a sort of scaling punishment of sorts, but it is something that ultimately I don't think that I've seen too much of this start just yet. They said throughout the week they're going to start seeing more of this roll out, so we don't quite know just how grand a scale just yet, we'll see, but it seems like the blueprint is laid out. Right now, we haven't seen many genuine bans from what I've seen. I've seen a lot of people getting inbox warnings saying, like, hey, just a reminder, play fair and don't exploit, stuff like that, that nothing really seems to have been done just yet, but that doesn't mean that things won't be happening in that case. And it seems like the most they've started to enforce at the moment could be something like the removal of those coins and economy that have been duplicated. But again, it's not necessarily to say that's all that we'll see here with this. Personally speaking, that's all I'd care to really do, and potentially return any gear to those players that died to anybody that may have been spamming grenades via the duplication glitch. Because that was one of those things that it was just such a small window of opportunity for somebody to take advantage of that, yes, it did happen, but from what it seems like, most of that appears to have been economy side, then I don't know if I'd personally issue many temporary bans or anything like that, but that could just be me. I totally understand if they want to go that route, even if I think it might be a bit harsh depending on what a player may have did to duplicate that kind of stuff, because it's one of those things that it's quite clearly an exploit. Like, that's not up for debate. This is one of those things that, albeit even though it was just a couple of steps, it's still a multi-step process you had to consciously do to duplicate an item, or many items at that. So like, yeah, you are duping and cheating the game there at that point, but it's that really strange fine line you have to navigate, because like, is it something that warrants the type of ban as somebody that's actually straight up cheating, like is either using wall hacks or aimbot or something like that that will truly ruin another player's experience, whereas this you could just be duplicating and getting coins or something like that, or at the most, again, you probably see ruining anybody else's experiences by duplicating a ton of grenades. So like, I think it's that fine line to enforce your code of conduct, essentially, to disincentivize other sort of foul play, even if it doesn't appear to hurt other players' experiences, while also not taking it too far that it seems like you're overly punishing them for something that's a bit more harmless by comparison to, again, those big things out there. All this to say is that I just don't really envy being the one to make those calls, but it seems like it may amount to a bit more in the future here for now. But at the moment, you might start to see some of those notices in your inbox of saying, hey, just a heads up, we can see what you're doing there with that. Don't be doing those duplication glitches. Or just refunding coins that you may have already had as a result of those types of things. So it's definitely this weird, kind of strange fine line, because on one hand, yes, again, conscious exploit that you have to take part in, but also when we've only seen other bans pertaining to things like actual cheating, how do you quantify what's an appropriate response? So keep an eye out. Of course, if you did any of these duplication glitches here, you might be affected by this, but if not, you have nothing to worry about. It's just one of those things that's gonna sort itself out throughout the community here, but that's the updates we got. Again, one a bit more fun of an update, talking about the future content drop as of next week, but another one is definitely very important to know. So I want to fill you guys in here and keep you in the loop with all you needed to know for Arc Raiders at the moment, but let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of Shrouded Sky coming next week? What do you think of the potential enforcement actions for duplication glitches here in Arc Raiders? Let me know. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor, drop a like on it, and of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing running all things Arc Raiders and even more FPS content. I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. See you later. Take care and peace.